So here we go then. Today we're back on Matilda, the almost 500,000 kilometre Mercedes, and we've got to take it for the retest. In the last video, it failed the inspection on a few inconvenient items, some of which I'd already thought I'd fixed and thought were fine, but we'll put it right in this video and then we'll take it for the retest and hopefully get it through. And it's going to be the last video on Matilda, and I'm going to explain why towards the end of the video. Front brakes are binding, a parking brake travel too large and it's not efficient enough. Front brake discs are worn, left windscreen wiper blade, the headlights are faded. I already polished them, but they're still not good enough. The aim is too low on the right headlamp. The rear brake light, I think from the translation, I think it's the centre one that's probably not working, but we'll check that. And the front prop disc is damaged. Good news. Oh, I got you in a compromising position. Miss Involvo'd is going to polish the headlights on the Mercedes because, well, she wants to do it. The professional's going to have a go.
Well, I'm pretty sure that Lewis from White and Restorations would have had a good trick how to do it nice and neat and better than I did, but it probably will do the trick.
There we go. They're so much better. If they don't pass that, then the TÜV's even more ridiculous than we thought, because that is like lovely. There's no issue with that, is there? They're almost as good as new. I mean, after even a few years, they would probably start to look like this because it is plastic, and obviously they take a beating on the road, so you can see there's a few scratches, but there's some stuff that you won't get out. So she used 400, 600, had to jump to 1,000, which probably didn't help because I don't have any 800. Then from 1,000 to 1,500, then 2,000, then 3,000. Might have helped to do like 1,200, then 1,500 and 2,500 as well. You know, make the steps as small as possible to give you the best possible result. But yeah, and then after that, compound, light polish. So a heavy cut compound, a light polish, and then a wax. So yeah, I mean, they've come up great, haven't they? All things considered. You can't moan at that. So fingers crossed, or thumbs pressed as they say here. Once I realised it was illegal, took them out, put them in the bin, and bought replacement units and fitted them. For the record, Your Honour. So he said the right one was too high. That one's like white, yellowy, whitey sort of colour, and that one's blue. They're actually a different colour, but I don't mind, doesn't matter. Adds character, doesn't it? So yeah, the right one's too high, so that's a nice easy one. It's a bit frustrating when they're both too high or too low or whatever, because you don't necessarily know how to adjust them. You just have to kind of wing it. The left one's fine, so we just need to make the right one match. I'm actually surprised he didn't say anything about the lights being different. That's something I definitely would expect them to get on me about here, with how they can be, with how strict they can be. Oh no, your headlights are two different colours, that's not going to work. But yeah, anyway, let's get this right one lowered and try and get it to match up. The adjusters are right there. That's pretty cool, I have to say. They've made that nice and easy, haven't they? Yeah, that's got to be the one, hasn't it? That's just going straight up and down. So if we twist that in, yeah, I'm happy with that. Looks weird, doesn't it, with the two different colours? It's like a spaceship. But yeah, there we go. That's got to be, that's the one, isn't it? That's about right. If anything, it's slightly lower now, certainly not any higher. So that's probably going to be fine, isn't it? And then it was on to the brake light, which turned out to be just a bulb, which I was quite surprised about because I thought it was going to be an LED. So I think now it's probably time to jump into the meat and potatoes of the failure work. If I'm not mistaken, is a common thing. I remember hearing it. I've never had a Mercedes before, but I remember hearing people bitch on about Mercedes handbrakes not being the best because it's this pedal thing down here. Now I think the usual problem is because a lot of these Mercedes, nearly all of them are automatic. So obviously people just chuck it into P and walk away. They never use the handbrake or the foot brake, emergency brake, whatever it's called. Yeah, and it's inboard, it's inside the drum. So I just think they just get old and seized up. But this one will have been used. So yeah, at this mileage, nearly half a mil kilometers and 25 years old, we could be looking at needing to replace the shoes at this point, but we'll whip the wheel off and we'll have a look anyway. So let's have a gander then. So first thing I'll do is knock out this screw or bolt, and then a couple of big bolts there. Whip them out, caliper off, disc off, and then we'll see what's waiting for us underneath. I think it's just slightly under, which makes me hopeful that we don't need to buy any new parts. I think it just probably wants an adjustment, doesn't it? The pads look good on the back. The discs and pads he didn't have any problem with, just the handbrake, so. Can't hit too loudly because it's Sunday here in Bavaria, so it's illegal to make any noises. Can't mow the lawn, can't work on your car. So which could be interesting if I need to take the disc off. If it's stuck on there, I'm literally going to have to walk away and do it tomorrow, because they literally can call the police. Oh, lovely. Beauty. Shoes look good. That's a good start. Got a nice set of Brembo shoes on there. It's got Brembo shoes, loads of meat on there, but it's just dirty, isn't it? It's dirty and just a bit not that pretty. So if we clean it up, wind this wheel out a little bit just to take up the slack. Okay, so to my absolute delight, I don't have to mess with the pedal inside the car or do anything, take out any bits of plastic out of the interior and mess with any adjusters, because they're always a bit of a pain, aren't they? You don't do that on this car, apparently. There is something under the rear seats that you can do something with, but you don't need to. The adjustment is done at the rear, the parts we just looked at. So some guy said on a forum, so I'm just going to go with that. Wind these up until they're where they should be, and hopefully that'll be good enough. That's funny. So you can adjust the wheel quite easily through there, that bigger hole. But when you put the disc on in the right place, so it has to be like that, so that the screw lines up, there's no hole there to adjust the brakes with the disc on. Doesn't make any sense. Just giving the discs a quick go over. get a bit of a lip on this outer edge. It's not much, but it's enough to interfere so that it feels tight when you put the disc on. But then once obviously the shoes are over this lip and sat inside there, they're not adjusted out as much as they could be. It doesn't matter too much if you can adjust it with the disc on, but in this case, as you can't, you've got to make sure this is completely smooth. So you get the adjuster where you want it, and then it slides on, and there's no difference here. You can adjust it where it needs to be. So with a bit of sandpaper, nice and coarse, you can just go over and just get rid of that lip. Disc grinder and angle grinder would do it as well with a grinding wheel on it, but Sunday in Bavaria, so better not chance it. A bit more. See. Oh yeah, that's much better. We should have at least made it better or worse. Better, or it should be the same. It shouldn't be worse. Then it was time to sort out the front brakes, discs, pads, free off the calipers. Hopefully the calipers aren't too sticky. Hopefully I can free them off. I don't think these discs were below the minimum thickness, but I'm not a vehicle inspector, and I also don't have a micrometer, so I couldn't actually check. So I just chucked on the new discs and pads, pushed back the calipers, greased everything up, and moved on. Then it was time for the rubber disc on the prop shaft. I'm not sure what the English name is, but I know in Germany they call it a Hardy disc. I'm glad he failed it because I didn't notice that. So there it is. Of course that shouldn't move in there. It's completely split. And it's basically just floating in there. And of course, they should be totally solid like this one. You shouldn't be able to move them. So to be honest with you, I did notice a little bit of a clunk sometimes when taking up drive, and I thought, oh, maybe it's a transmission mount or a diff mount or something like that, but it did feel quite close to the front of the car rather than at the back. There's just that clunk when you take up drive. So of course now we know what it is, so I am glad that he's actually failed that. And now it all moves together nice and solid. No movement in that rubber at all. Now I hate to be that kind of Blue Peter YouTuber, oh here's what I made earlier, without actually showing you guys the action. You don't want to see what I did do and me just talk about it. You want to see it happen, but this job, not that nice actually. Trying to get a camera under here, I mean I'm working on the ground, so you know if I was on a ramp I would have done it, but on the ground there's not a place where I can put the camera and show you guys and work at the same time. You're just going to see my elbow go up and down like a fiddler, and yeah, just my head in the way and just some swear words and stuff like that. It's not that good. But as you can see, like there's not room for anything. And lastly, the wiper blade. One of those jobs that should be so easy. Just on the way to the TÜV, the inspection, and spotted this. It looks like an abandoned house with all these cars sat there behind a fence. But what are they? Would love to jump in and have a peek under those covers. Are you hiding?
A bit?
No.
What?
You're supposed to be in the picture.
Who said that?
So, the Mercedes. finally passed the TÜV. What an adventure that was. But after all that, we're actually thinking about selling it. I'm sure some of you are disappointed to hear that. A lot of you are happy to hear it. Miss Involvo'd did say that, I don't want to speak for you, I don't want to put words into your mouth, but you said it's a little bit of a handful, a little bit too big, a little bit too much of a manual. You'd prefer an auto. Yeah. And yeah, it's a little bit thirsty as well, I've noticed from driving it. It's a 2.4 V6 petrol. Yeah, it's got a lot of weight to carry around, so yeah, it does drink. It's not really a very good sort of daily driver, like commuter. This car makes a Volvo 740 feel small, if you can believe it. After driving this for a few days, I'll jump in the 740 and it just feels like a small car, which is really weird. So yeah, it's a little bit much around town, and with Miss Involvo'd using it as her first car, like going around, you know, commuting and going into the city, going into the town and things like that, it's just a bit much. It's quite a lot of car to park and yeah, just deal with, and yeah, especially with it being a manual as well, obviously it's not the best for like traffic and things like that. So yeah, we're thinking about getting something else. So
well, you forgot the main reason why we're not keeping them out.
What's that then?
I just prefer Volvos.
Yeah, even though you were a big part of the reason why we bought this, so let's not just say
reason,
yeah, let's not say I'm the traitor here.
The bad guy.
Yeah, but those of you that have been watching for a long time, you know how it is. This isn't the first non-Volvo that I've had on the channel, and it probably won't be the last. Every now and then something else is featured, something just to spice things up a little bit. Yeah, there's been quite a few other cars on the channel. Every now and then, they normally don't stick around for very long, but yeah, you know, variety is the spice of life, isn't it? I wouldn't say we bought this for variety or anything like that. We bought it because we needed something modern, and this was a compromise between something modern but still old enough, because it is a 1995 model design. It's a 98 car, but it's obviously they started this platform in 95. It's old enough and simple enough to be able to wrench on it and to be able to get things done, and still have a little bit of a like retro coolness factor. Some of you will disagree. Limiter. It's easy to hit the limiter in this car because it just keeps pulling and sounding better and better until you hit the red line. Really pulls well. It's a really nice car. It's like riding on a silk blanket. It's so smooth. You can really throw it into the corners. It's definitely a lot of fun. It has been a lot of fun, I have to say, especially after old Volvos.
Maybe that's one secret reason why we're getting rid of it as well, because you're just having too much fun.
Maybe. No, it is a lot of fun. I still prefer my two slow old red block Volvos. These cars get a bad rap because of the rust problems they had, because of the paint problems and things like that, and a couple of design issues that also are a problem when it comes to rust. But apart from that, as anyone that's owned one of these or even driven one, they will say brilliant car, really, really nice car, lovely to drive, really well built actually, but it's all overshadowed by the rust problems they had and the paint issues they had. So yeah, it will be a shame to see it go. I'm not trying to sell the car here. It probably sounds a bit like it. There's another W210. Huh. You don't see them very often. I think that's the first one I've seen on the road since having this car, because they've all rusted away. But yeah, I'm not trying to sell it. I think we've already found a home for it, and hopefully it will be a good home that's going to take this car up to the $500,000. And yeah, I'm just glad we saved it. I know a lot of you didn't think it was worth it, but I think it was worth it. I think any car that can manage 280,000 miles is worth saving. And I think another few years it will start to come into its own, and it will be appreciated a lot more.